Alright, so in this video I'm just going to do a brief review of the X method that I use for factoring. So in the X method, the first thing that we want to do is pull out the GCF. And again, GCF stands for greatest common factor. So in this polynomial right here, my greatest common factor is 2. So I pull out that 2 and I have 6x squared minus 13x minus 5. And now with this part right here, I want to factor that, and that's going to be using that X method that I had talked about. So this is my A value, this is B, and this is C. And in using the X method, we want to find two numbers that when we multiply them gives me A times C, and when we add them gives me my B value. So for this particular polynomial here, my B value is negative 13, and A times C is going to be negative 30. So I'm looking for two values that when I multiply give me negative 30, and when I add give me negative 13. So it's going to be negative 15 and 2. And if you're not sure what these two values can be, what I would do is just start listing out the multiples of 30. So that would be 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10, and 5 times 6. And see if their difference gives us this bottom number here. So after we've found these two numbers, then I take my AX plus and those two blanks here. And when we have an AX in both of these, for this particular polynomial, that would be 6x plus 2 and 6x minus 15. I know that I have too much in here. And so this step is called taking out the trash. Okay. And when we're taking out the trash here, I know that I have an extra factor in these polynomials here, in these binomials. And so I want to divide out that extra factor. So the common factor in this polynomial, or in this binomial, is 2. And so then we get 3x plus 1. And in this one, it's 3. So we have 2x minus 5. And now it's completely factored. But a lot of times what students forget is this 2 that we pulled out front. So we can't forget about that. And that would be our answer. Now, if the question had asked us to solve, let's say it was 12x squared minus 26x minus 10 equals 0. And what we want to do here is we can go through that same process and we end up with those factors 2, 3x plus 1, 2x minus 5 equals 0. And now what we can do is, because this is just a number out front, I can divide both sides by 2. And when we do that, we get 3x plus 1 and 2x minus 5 equals 0. And now we can use the zero product property. And that says if I have these two factors and their product equals 0, then we can set both factors equal to 0. And then we can solve. So this will give me x equals negative 1/3, and this will give me x equals 5/2. And those are my solutions. So that's just a short review of the X method that I showed you guys. Now when we're factoring in general, if we have 4 terms, so maybe something like x cubed minus x squared plus x minus 1, the first thing we want to think is factoring by grouping. And if we have 3 terms, we want to try, so maybe something like x squared minus 2x minus 3. We want to try the X method. And if those don't work, we can try completing the square. Or quadratic formula. And then if we only have two terms, we want to think, well, maybe that's like a special product or a special factoring. So maybe something like a squared minus b squared, or just one of those special ones that we know. It could be a cubed minus b cubed, or a cubed plus b cubed. One of the special factors. So we want to think special factors. And in all of these cases, no matter what, we always pull out the GCF first. All right, so that's just a quick little review of factoring, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you if you need some help remembering how to factor.